are you doing there? I'm Alex. And today I want to talk about the differences between the older and the newer versions of Voltron. There's legendary Defender, and there is Defender of the Universe. It's been a long time since Defender of the Universe was brought out, so there's a few differences in the new reboot that Netflix brought out. So let's see what the differences are. With the rise of easily accessible media such as Netflix, things like that, there's been a rise in demand for different types of films and shows. Shows like Stranger Things, House of Cards, Orange is the New Black, they all risen in popularity very, very fast. And they came out instantaneously, that you didn't have to wait another week for another episode. And so Netflix started signing partnerships with different places. One of these places was both the series of Voltron follow a similar premise. It's a bunch of space explorers who get caught up in the wrong situation and end up in outer space having to save these people from an evil alien race called the Galra, who try and take over the entire universe. In the older version, this consisted of a bunch of characters. There was Sven, there was Keith, there was Lance, there was Pidge, and there was Hunk, and Allura and Karan. And it's the same in the new one, but the characters have changed a bit. Sven is no longer Sven. Sven is Shiro. So they've taken light of a few things and they've changed the characters around a bit. I'm going to start with Keith Kogane. And Keith is the pilot of the Red Lion in the newer version, but in the older version he wasn't. He was the pilot of the Black Lion, who's the main lion of Voltron. Keith is a bit hard-headed, but he's thoughtful and straightforward. In the newer version, he's perceived as a bit more emo, into darker styles, and can argue a lot with one of the other characters. He is voiced in the newer version by Steve Yeun, who played Glenn in The Walking Dead. Keith, halfway through the new series, which is actually the second series of the new Voltron, he is found out to be half Galra, which never happened in the original, but Keith being half bad guy brings up some interesting problems. You find out how the other characters react to it. In doing that, you see the characters bond a bit even over that sort of stuff. Secondly, I'm going to talk about Lance. Lance, in both of them, is a self-declared ladies' man. He flirts with everyone, but in the older version, he was a bit more of a class clown, whereas in the newer one, he makes jokes whenever he can, but on his own, he's shown to be a bit more mellow and to be homesick and to miss his family. Lance pilots the Blue Lion, and he always has done in both the old and the new series, so there's more similarities with Lance than there is with Keith. In the older version, he was an American male. He's still voiced by an American actor who is Jeremy Shada, who does the voice of Finn the Human from Adventure Time. We found out that in the newer version he is actually Cuban, thus he has darker skin than Lance in the original, which is another interesting character change because they've made the cast a bit more diverse than in the original. Then there's Pidge. Pidge in the original had a bit of an annoying voice. He was small, easy to get into places that the other couldn't, so he could do things that the others couldn't because of that. And that was his advantage. In the newer version, he still has that advantage, but he is also a child genius, very, very good with technology and stuff like that. In the newer version also, it is revealed that Pidge is not in fact male. Pidge is female, disguising herself as male to get into the garrison, which is like the space explorers training. And through that, you see the revelations on the crew finding out how Pidge is a girl and therefore changing the reactions. So that's quite interesting, which never happened in the older version. Pidge was always male. Next up, I'm going to talk about Hunk. Hunk is the largest member of the entire team and pilots the Yellow Lion. The Yellow Lion is very, very strong and supposed to be connected to emotion, just like Hunk is. Hunk in the older version was perceived as a bit angry, but was still quite nice, and just an all-round good guy who put himself off as a tough guy. In the newer version, Hunk's just all around nice. However, sometimes he can seem a bit cowardly, but this just isn't true, because as soon as any of his friends are in danger, he's there straight away. He's an overall good guy, and you just want to go to him for a hug. The next character, who is the last of the main 5 paladins I'm going to cover, is Shiro. And Shiro's really interesting because in the original he was Norwegian and the accent wasn't played off very well and could oftentimes seem a bit out of place or funny, and the show wasn't exactly supposed to be that funny and that wasn't supposed to be part of it. In the old version he was called Sven. In the new version he's called Shiro, which is short for Takashi Shirogane, and That comes from the Japanese name from the original series. He is perceived, obviously, as Japanese, and he has this short hair with an undercut here. But he gets kidnapped by aliens, by the Gara, and he comes back with the white bit here. And that never happened in the original. In the original, when he was piloting the red line, I do believe, or the blue line, I can't remember, he was never taken by aliens. He did have a really bad problem, was injured by one of the Haga, and he had to recline his position as the paladin, and Allura took over. But he also came back with a few other things. He came back with a completely robot arm. He can do certain things with that arm. He can fight with that arm, and he can cut through the bad guys like none of the other characters can on their own. He can open doors that might only be able to be activated by Gara technology because it was given to him by the Gara. So in the original, he was a bit more laid back. In the new version, he's basically like the leader of the crew. He's got a really, really good leader ethic, and he's basically like a dad. Everyone calls him Space Dad. Next, I'm going to talk about Allura. Allura, in the original, she was a princess, and she eventually had to take on the role of piloting the line that Sven or Shiro had piloted. In the original, she was also a bit, oh, I'm a damsel in distress. And that was a bit, it was normal. It was normal to see that sort of stuff. But in the newer version, there was a very clear demand for a strong female leader. Allura brought that. Allura, her character changed a bit. She wasn't all, oh no. She can take on fights herself. She's not scared. She is strong. She lost her father and she is fighting back, and she's not scared, and she's going to fight with the other paladins. And she controls the ship and gets them out of a lot of tough situations. And she's a very, very good character in that way. Kuran, there's not much to say apart from the fact that his styles in the old one, the new one, are very obviously, like, you can tell it's him, but it's completely different. It has this new modern vibe to it, just like everything else in the new version does. And he's a bit crazy in the new version compared to the old one. In the old one, you would just protect Allura. In the new one, he's a bit hysterical. Then there's the Gara. The Gara are the bad guys, led by Zarkon, and there's a lot of other little guys that help out that Zarkon really just controls, such as Sendak. So that's the characters covered. Like I said, the premises and the plot for both of them were quite similar. In the old version though, the animation was a bit, and the characters were quite good, but they weren't as deep as they are now. Next, I'm going to compare the voice acting themselves, and I'm going to put that in a little clip just to put it all together. And I'll put on one side of the screen whether it's the old or the new version. I'll put on the other side of the screen whether it's like which character it is. So have fun watching that and cringing over Pidge's voice.
What has he done? You accuse him?
They aren't exactly the best and brightest the universe has to offer.
Oh yes, Princess, I'm listening.
It's over.
Oh, I know!
How very sweet and kind. Poor little things. This just isn't your day, is it?
All we've got. The Bayard is the traditional weapon of the Paladins of Voltron. It takes a distinct shape for each Paladin.
It's one of Zarkon's attack ships that stayed behind to... You're right, Keith. Let's put our heads together and work out an escape plan.
Boys, it's time to suit up. If we want to take this monster down, there's only one way to do it.
All right! Okay, I'm down, Your High and Mighty Majesty. Zarkon has us marked for slavery, and who knows what else.
Oh, you got a cute little Bayard. With everything we've got, take out its weapon, call it names?
The name's Lance.
I'm in no hurry. What about those cobras?
Is this it? Is this the Voltron?
Hey! You're working again! Welcome back!
Stay cool. Do whatever Volkar says for now. We're going to get you out of this. Let's get going.
This is what's been causing all this crazy energy out here. Oh, wait, I remember you. You're a cargo pilot. We had a bonding moment. I cradled you in my arms.
Ooh, just let me at him. But before we leave, I'd like to get my hands on Zarkon.
Oh man, they're coming back and they do not look happy. We gotta go.
Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, good time. Bye bye.